What do you expect? You engulf white boys, white teenagers, and young white men in a culture that despises them, constantly derides them, and puts the non-white first whenever possible. You abolish or feminize the institutions that once fashioned boys into men, and so millions of them never learn how to approach women, or how to take part in teamwork, or how to lead, or how to follow, or how to shoot a gun, or how to build something, or how to organize something, or how to design something, or how to win something. You then force them to compete in an education system with non-whites, who either beat them by having superior stamina and mathematical talent, or drag them down by having no academic talent at all. Nevertheless, whatever the attributes of the non-whites, they have an automatic advantage over the young white men because of their race. And so, the colleges and universities, though they were built by the young white man's ancestors, are not his domain. Then you attack these young white men's history, their heritage. You say that it's evil. You say that everything they have and everything they think they should have is not theirs, because it was stolen from other people, or built on the suffering of other people, or, in any case, is nowadays the rightful property of everyone, and thus not theirs. You say that everything which generates their cultural and genetic identity is illegitimate, corrupt, or evil. When you are not saying that it is wicked, you are tacitly discrediting and desanctifying it by saying that it should be open to question. Or you are claiming that it is not particular to them anyway. In short, you leave the young white man with nothing whatsoever upon which to base his identity in the world today. Nothing but the products on the supermarket shelf. But then not even them, because they belong to everyone. And then the young white men enter the jobs market, and they have to compete at every level with non-whites, who have an automatic advantage over them because of their race. Those white men who would naturally have gone into blue-collar work find themselves having to compete with Chinese sweatshop workers, and Hispanic workers, and cheap labourers from the four corners of the earth. Even when this doesn't lower their wages, it disenfranchises and humiliates young white men, because it shows them that their society no longer belongs to them and no longer cares about them. Those of them who do join the mainstream of society find themselves operating inside a culture of institutionalized political correctness, which, by accident or design, paralyzes their attempts to express their ingenuity, to assert their masculinity, to develop their character, and to approach the opposite sex. At every turn, they are thwarted, or warned that they will be thwarted, if they so much as forget to dot an I or cross a T. Thus, you put them on edge, and make them feel like an unwelcome, untrusted alien in the land that should be theirs. In every part of normal life, you react to the natural drives, talents, and longings of the typical young white man with bafflement, disbelief, and contempt. You encourage white women to look down on the young white man and to date anyone but him. Black men, brown men, yellow men, or indeed women, or indeed to stay single and childless. So these young men have, by default, the contempt of the women who would once have been their women, who would once have appreciated, respected, encouraged, and energized them. These young men therefore have far less certainty about the prospect of one day becoming fathers. And it is far more likely that if they do manage this, it will be with women who despise them. And then finally, you say that these young white men don't even exist. Because there's no such thing as the white race, and there's no such thing as a native Englishman, and there's no such thing as American culture. Having denied them everything else, you deny them the right to even claim to exist. But, at the same time, you work hard to disenfranchise these men who supposedly don't exist. When, after all this, the young white man is a 25-year-old basement-dwelling virgin playing video games, you mock him for being a loser. When, alternatively, the young white man is a 25-year-old working a shitty job with no promotion prospects, you mock him for being entitled and expecting better from his society. When, alternatively, the young white man is a 25-year-old working a good job with promotion prospects, you mock him for being privileged. And then some of these young white men, realizing how much their society has been reprogrammed against them, don khakis and polo shirts and join a march to protest one particular attack on their identity and to make themselves heard in a world that refuses to recognize them. And when they do this, you act as if they've done something evil. You recognize them now, only so that you can attack, demonize, dox, and ruin them. Having denied them all the securities and expectations of life that were enjoyed by their fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers, you now try to deny them the possibility of ever being gainfully employed. And thus, in your endless attempt to destroy him, you leave the young white man with no options in life but to destroy you. Beware, young white men in polo shirts.